Chapter 280, Yan Qingwu. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. Lei Jing speculated that Zhang Yuochen had failed the practical test and sighed, you are too rash to listen to my words. No matter how powerful your strength is, there still remains a giant gap between you and those warriors. The first failure doesn't matter. In the next test, challenge those ranked below 500. Try to obtain a victory to rediscover your confidence. Zhang Yuochen replied, I succeeded. Don't be discouraged if it is so, because the key is that you should keep your attitude up. I beg your pardon, you succeeded? Lei Jing checked to make sure. Zhang Yuochen added, I have defeated the 130th opponent. For the second round, I want to challenge the 100th opponent. Lei Jing was stunned for a while. He nodded like a puppet and said, you go. Wait. Take this 4th class healing pill to recover from your injury. It will not be too late to go after you've recovered. Lei Jing took out a pill big as a pigeon egg and gave it to Zhang Yuochen. Zhang Yuochen accepted Lei Jing's kindness. He took healing pill and began to see to his injuries. A 4th class healing pill was much powerful than the 3rd class healing pill. Thus, Zhang Yuochen only needed to circulate his genuine chi for one large circle of vital energy and he was already mostly recovered. After the recovery, Zhang Yuochen once again entered the secret room again. That young man is such a surprise. I wonder just how many surprises he will bring me. Lei Jing laughed. The 100th on Earth board was a lady named Yan Qingwu. This time, Zhang Yuochen carefully read the introduction to Yan Qingwu on the Earth board. He didn't dare to underestimate his opponent. Yan Qingwu, the apprentice of the half-Saint Yan family, was the first genius of half-Saint Yan family. She had activated an icing cold sacred mark at the age of 2, reached the completion of the yellow realm at the age of 9, reached the completion of the black realm at the age of 14, and reached the completion of the earth realm at the age of 20. And now, at the age of 24, she was in the top 100 of the Earth board. Main combat gains. 1. 3 years ago, she had made her name from a fight with He Yunzi, the black market warrior at initial stage of the Heaven Realm who was killed by her within 10 moves. 2. 1 year ago, she became a 5th level genius after breaking through the 5th floor of Juju Tower. 1. 6 months ago, she defeated Yan Yunhan, the Yan family warrior at the advanced stage of the Heaven Realm. After reading through the materials, Zhang Yuochen felt great pressure because Yan Qingwu was quite powerful due to her combat gains and defeating a warrior at the advanced stage of the Heaven Realm. That meant the lady was excellent in all aspects and had the power to defeat those stronger than her. Furthermore, Zhang Yuochen's present comprehensive power was weaker than hers. How brilliant Yan Qingwu is, to have entered the top 100 of Earthboard at the age of 24. The fight with her should be quite tough. Zhang Yuochen clenched his fists tightly and felt a strong surge of war intent surge out of his body. Thank you for your appreciation. I will defeat you with my strongest power during our later combat. A woman's voice appeared behind Zhang Yuochen. Turning around, Zhang Yuochen saw a beautiful lady standing 33 meters away from him and staring at him with a long sword in her hand. Zhang Yuochen detected that it was a spiritual body, so he said without additional words, let's start. Combat in the test secret room would be recorded by the separation of the vessel spirit of Earth board and the record would become a complete video later. For example, the news that Zhang Yuochen had defeated Yuan would be sent to Yuan by the Marshall Market Bank when the new Earth board was published. Yuan needed to buy the video with spiritual crystals if he wanted to watch it. Naturally, Yuan could challenge Zhang Yuochen again if he wasn't convinced by the outcome. Thus, masters in Earthboard were able to communicate through the vessel spirit of the Earthboard even if they were thousands of miles away. It was said that warriors in the Heaven board had an even more amazing way to communicate, which was like two warriors fighting face to face. Of course, Zhang Yuochen's present challenge materials would be deleted by Lei Jing. Thus, his communication with Yuan and Yan Qingwu was meaningless. Sword Flurry. Yan Qingwu's first attack was a sword technique in the superior class of the spiritual stage. Sword Flurry technique. When the sword breath appeared, A gust of chilling wind swept through the whole practice secret room. Then the whole room was covered with fingernail-sized snowflakes which created a world of ice and snow. Yan Qingwu and Yan Lixuan were both at the completion of the Earth realm, and they both performed a sword technique at the superior class of spiritual stage. However, the power of Yan Qingwu was stronger than Yan Lixuan. Perhaps Yan Lixuan was unable to withstand even one of Yan Qingwu's sword attacks if he fought against her. Swish. The sword performed by Yan Qingwu seemed to be a white rainbow shooting up into the sky and moved across the falling snow. The sword directly slammed towards Zhang Yuochen's glabella with swiftness and force. "She's so fast." Immediately, Zhang Yuochen performed Sacred Bell Sword to gather sword breath to become a giant bell to cover his body inside it. The 3 meters tall bell whirled quickly with a humming sound and formed a huge vortex of sword breath. Yan Qingwu moved through the vortex of sword breath and struck towards Bell Sword. Although the speed of the sword was gradually slowing down, the sword was still moving forward slowly and piercing through the bell sword. The sword was getting closer to Zhang Yuochen's glabella. What a powerful sword! Zhang Yuochen stood his ground. The sword reflected in his eyes grew brighter and brighter, larger and larger. The long-haired Yan Qingwu was like a fairy from Wonderland. She aggressively stared at Zhang Yuochen in front of her and laughed. "You lose." "Are you sure?" "That may not be." Zhang Yuochen clenched 4 fingers on his left hand, leaving the thumb to receive the torrential genuine chi pouring out from the body. Sun Meridian Ripple. A ripple of sword wave shot out after the thumb flicked. Yan Qingwu had a quick reaction. She took back her sword immediately to defend against Zhang Yuochen's sword wave when he performed it. A light curtain shot out from the sword like a shield and defended against the sword wave. Boom! Yan Qingwu flew backward and knocked into the stone wall with a groan. Yan Qingwu showed a little surprise when she landed. No wonder he dared to challenge me. He indeed had some true abilities. Zhang Yuochen followed up the success by attacking her before Yan Qingwu recovered. He chopped towards Yan Qingwu's waist with his sword. Yan Qingwu's speed was even faster than Zhang Yuochen's highest speed, and it was impossible to see with the naked eye. She kicked the ground and leapt to turn around and strike towards Zhang Yuochen's back with her sword. Her sword technique was fantastic. It had reached the peak of the sword following the mind realm. It had reached the acme of perfection and could change arbitrarily. Swish. Zhang Yuochen turned around at once and shook his arms to draw circles by the abyss ancient sword and forced Yan Qingwu's sword out from circles. Break. The sword in Yan Qingwu's hands was broken into 2 with a crack sound and the tip flew out. The abyss ancient sword almost touched Yan Qingwu's clothes in front of her chest. Yan Qingwu executed a speed bodily movement. She shook her body and in a flash she had moved 10 meters, avoiding Zhang Yuochen's second strike and quickly putting distance between them. Moving heaven and earth. Zhang Yuochen looked at Yan Qingwu and showed a little surprise. Just now, Yan Qingwu had performed an inferior class of ghost-level martial technique named Moving Heaven and Earth. Although she had just practiced to the beginner level, it was already quite excellent. Because few people among warriors at the heaven realm were able to practice moving heaven and earth to the beginner level. You are just at the cultivation of the earth realm, but you have started to practice inferior class of ghost level martial technique. Aren't you afraid of delaying your practice of martial arts? Zhang Yuochen asked. Standing 10 meters away from him, Yan Qingwu held her broken sword and haughtily said, "If my comprehension is good enough, why can't I practice ghost-level martial technique even just at the cultivation of the Yellow Realm?" When Empress Kaiyao was in the Yellow Realm, she had successfully practiced inferior class of ghost-level sword techniques to the Succeed Realm. Her perfect comprehension exceeded most of the inferiors. Why can't I do it if she was able to do it? Although Zhang Yuochen knew that it was just a spiritual body standing opposite him, he still felt a special feeling when hearing Kaiyao's name. He said, "The only thing you know was that she had successfully practiced inferior class of ghost-level sword technique, but you don't know that this caused her to develop only 31 channels in the Yellow Realm and she was unable to practice the first level of superior brightness to reach the perfect realm. And this became the biggest regret of her life." "How do you know such a private thing about Empress Kaiyao?" Yan Qingwu was a little astonished. "Oh no, he had let it slip. It was somehow hard for Jiang Yuochen to control his emotions when he heard the name Kaiyao. Stop saying useless words. Let's continue to fight. Since your sword has broken, I won't take advantage of this to defeat you. Jiang Yuochen put down the abyss ancient sword and operated the power of Blood Meridian. A blood wave with a 9-meter diameter appeared under his feet. Yan Qingwu put the broken sword aside and also operated the power of Blood Meridian. A blood wave with a 9-meter diameter also appeared under her feet. The top 1,000 of the Earth Board were almost all of the most outstanding young geniuses in the eastern region. Thus, they had strong spiritual blood and were able to condense divine stage blood wave. Animal spirits fixing arms. Yan Qingwu used spiritual blood to form a 1-meter blood sword above her head. The blood sword flew out towards Jiang Yuochen with a crimson track. Jiang Yuochen held the sword skill between his fingers and genuine qi constantly poured into his thumb. Immediately, the spiritual qi inside the whole test secret room was gathered at his fingertips. A sword wave was performed and the whole secret room was shaken by it. Boom. When the two powers crashed into each other, Jiang Yuochen slightly gained the upper hand, forced Yan Qingwu to take a step back. Yan Qingwu suddenly disappeared when Jiang Yuochen planned to continue performing the sword wave. Oh no. Moving heaven and earth again. Almost by instinct, Jiang Yuochen felt the fluctuation of the genuine qi and reacted quickly, punching towards his left. Yan Qingwu appeared on Jiang Yuochen's left side as expected and attacked towards Jiang Yuochen's palm with one finger. Finger-breaking magical sword. Yan Qingwu performed another finger martial technique. Her sleeves were shredded by the genuine qi, showing two white beautiful arms. Her hands quickly punched and left many fingerprints. 1,000 hands seemed to appear in front of her and they attacked towards Jiang Yuochen at the same time.